What's going on, good people? Welcome back to Brian Bandis Builds a Business. Today, we are really specifically gonna dig into the business building aspect. We talk a lot about real estate development here, which is the kind of business that I'm building. And I wanna spend some time this week talking about business building in general. And in particular, a principle that maybe isn't the most fun, but it's very, very helpful. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, and some of you might know me personally, or some of you have seen some recent videos. In my business, over the course of the last 10 to 12 months, I've really been kind of getting my ass kicked, to be honest with you. It's been very challenging. And some of it is the market and things that are beyond my control, maybe decisions that the city is making or things that are happening at a national level. And some of it's not, some of it is me, unfortunately. Doesn't that just hurt the pride when you know like you can't blame anyone else but yourself? No fun. But it's also good news, because the more things that are my fault, the more I can do about it, right? I can change, I can grow, I can learn, I can improve my systems or my thought processes or my habits. I can actually do something about it. I'll tell you what I can't do anything about: the Fed and what they're doing with rates, or the national economy, or the housing market. I can't do a lot about those things, but I can do something about the things that are my fault. So before we dive into this, if you're getting something out of this, as usual, if you are inspired to build your business, inspired to develop real estate and start building freedom, start building a company, start building a legacy in that way, then hook me up with one of those, and one of those, and one of those. Let's get to it. All right, so the principle we're talking about, I'm gonna be quick to say, this principle is not my idea. Even this expression of this principle is not my original idea, but man, it hits home, and I'm experiencing it in some major ways. And the principle is this: you have to suck at something first before you can be good at it. There is one clear first step. If there's something you're wanting to do, something you want to achieve, something you want to be good at, there's a clear first step. And the first step is to start doing it badly. The bad news is there's really no way to skip this step. I'm not aware of a way to skip being new at something and go straight to being an expert. The way you become an expert is you start off doing it badly, and then you learn some things that you can do better, and you do it a little better. And then you still do some things wrong, and you figure those things out, and you do it a little bit better. And the truth is, the more difficult and the more complex the thing is that you're trying to do, and the better you want to become at it, then the longer you're going to have to suck at it. And the more you're going to suck at it, the wider that gap is going to be between where you are and where you want to be. The good news of it all is that it's a level playing field. Now, sure, we can take genetics and say, hey, some people are just going to be naturally more gifted at certain things, and that is true. But nobody is born being spectacular at anything. We all have to start at, I know nothing and I'm bad at this, and work from there. Now, I know I've been telling you guys that I've been getting my ass kicked for the last year, and you have to believe me when I tell you that I am experiencing this principle this year in some major ways. And you know, I got lulled into a little bit of a false sense of security because I got some early wins when I started this company. I've shared some of them on this channel, in fact. Check that out. And I started thinking, man, maybe I don't have to start bad at this. Maybe I am the guy who's so gifted and so talented and just so favored by the Lord that I can just skip all that and just whoop butt from day one and just cruise on through. And I'm here to tell you, I was wrong. Comically wrong. If you don't believe me, I'm gonna share just a few in a long list of things that I have learned the hard way over the last 1 to 3 years as I've built this company. Some of them I'm still bad at. So here are a few examples of things that I sucked at to begin. Now I'm gonna start with one that is not related to this business. A lot of you might know that in a past life, I was a professional musician. I moved from Austin, Texas to Nashville, Tennessee because I wanted to play music professionally, and I did get to do that. When I first moved here, I thought I was just so freaking good. And I really felt like I should get a record deal right now. Why don't I have one? And then in retrospect, after being here for a few years and being around some really gifted people and maturing as a person and learning about the music business, all I can say is thank God that I did not get a record deal when I thought I deserved one, because I didn't, and I couldn't handle it, and I was not good enough. When I first moved to Nashville thinking I was spectacular, I was mediocre at best. There was a lot of raw talent, there was a lot of potential, but I was not good at this. I wasn't a great writer. I definitely didn't understand the music business. I didn't understand how to build relationships in business in general. That's just my first example of being terrible at something. We can actually go way further back, and when I was little, I was really bad at baseball until 3rd grade. And then all of a sudden I was good, but I started off bad. When I started playing basketball in middle school, I played no Little League basketball, and I made the team solely because I happened to be tall for my age at the time, and I was a bench warmer on the B team, the 7th grade B team. And by the time I graduated high school, I was a varsity starter. And it's not because I was just the most spectacular athlete, but I did work hard, and it took time to get good enough to do that. It took a long time. I started off terrible. All right, so let's talk business though. As a developer, I continue to make errors in estimating accurately the timeline of a project or the timeline of a build or the timeline for permitting. I continue to struggle to nail my budgets no matter how much cushion I put in, but here's what I will say. I started off and my budgets were so bad they were borderline irrelevant. Now, they're a little better. I've actually got some pretty solid, trustworthy pricing that I can look at. And so I pray that a year from now, my budgets are twice as trustworthy as they are now. But I'll tell you what, they're a lot better than they used to be. When I started off, it was basically pointless to look at them. They were irrelevant, they were so off. As a business owner in general, I would say that I early on overestimated my ability to hire and train and really skillfully manage good people and delegate. And most importantly, and what has been at the root of a lot of the challenges over the last year, is my inability or my lack of understanding when it comes to managing cash flow as a business owner, and dramatically underestimating how much cash on hand I would need to keep this business running at a healthy clip, and getting into a situation where the cash situation at least felt dire was very uncomfortable. And that all came from inexperience. That was flat out me being a younger, newer business owner and being bad at it. Now, the good news is I am better at it now. I have a much clearer understanding of what cash flow has to look like, what cash reserves need to look like, and how to anticipate, the next 12, 18, 24 months of cash usage. I'm better at it. Am I great at it? Probably not. Might have to get my ass kicked again to go to the next level. But I started off terrible at it. Now, lastly, as a builder, as many of you know, right now, I am not only developing my own projects, but I am also building my own projects that I'm developing. As a builder, the number of things that I'm bad at and learning the hard way is just astonishing. My materials selections continue to improve, but they started off so bad. In fact, the first project I built, I hate the flooring that I put in there. And I didn't know I would hate it until not only was it in, but I found a much better vendor and a much better sub to do my next projects. And then I realized, oh my gosh, these new floors are great. Those old ones suck. I've also done a terrible job on the first project of selecting my subcontractors. Man, I probably doubled what my timeline should be, waiting for subs to fix their mistakes or show up when they said. It was brutal. And honestly, like the number of problems that I couldn't foresee simply because of a lack of experience, it's a long, long list. So the theme of this week's video, as you already know, is how bad you have to be at something before you can be good at it. You have to start as a beginner. There's no way to skip that step. And this pane of glass right here represents numerous numerous things learned the hard way. Let's start with a basic one, and that is that when I had some windows broken, I didn't immediately call to get them replaced because I thought, man, if I replace them, they might just get broken again. And honestly, I don't want to like make this company replace these windows 20 times. That's not right. And I still think that that was true, except that by the time I now asked them for all the replacement panes, they're like, oh, you're outside of your warranty. So I was trying to be nice. Now I'm outside of my warranty. Secondly, when all these things were delivered, when all these windows were delivered, I didn't come over and receive the delivery. I wasn't available. And that's not really a huge deal, but I didn't come over immediately to check the delivery and look at the manifest and go, I should have 40 windows, these sizes, these styles. Do I have them all? Yes. And so eventually I got here and realized, oh man, a bunch of these windows are missing. And I had to hope that they had taken pictures of when they delivered and that they would be willing to sort of take ownership of that and make it right if some of them were missing, which I will say they did. But it created a huge snafu, and we probably lost 3-4 weeks trying to sort out the window thing, order the ones that were missing. You know, the guys that were doing the installation came on site, and they came off site again, and they came back, then oh shoot, a couple of them are wrong. I just was not on top of this order and delivery the way that I now have learned that I need to be. Now this is gonna be cool, and this one is supposed to be gold. The drawings all over it don't help right now, but we're gonna get it painted. But then the mirror will come up, and this accent wall will come up about halfway up the mirror. Should be pretty cool. I'd poop in this room too. But the truth is, I didn't have any way of knowing those things. The reason I didn't know those things is because I was new, and you have to start off not knowing. The reason that I had bad subs is because I was new, and it takes time to learn what you're looking for and to find those subs and learn how to communicate with them and know how to manage them and watch their work. There's no way to skip that step. So my two options and your two options are either don't do this thing that I believe is worth doing, or do it and endure the reality, and at the beginning, you're gonna be bad at it. But if you start and you go through the period of being bad at it and you don't quit, eventually you end up where I think that I am, which is maybe I'm okay at it. I still don't think I'm great at it. I know that I'm not great at it, but I'm not terrible at it either. I'm getting there. And it comes from doing it badly and observing what happens and learning and adjusting. And now the newest projects I'm doing are the best yet. The budgets are the best, the subs are the best, I'm building them a lot quicker, I'm using better materials. Honestly, every aspect is going better. But the only way I get to do those deals that go much better is to do a really bad job on a few of them and figure out how to make it better. All right guys, I'm just gonna out myself. In the vein of getting better at things, for those of you who have taken my Deal Architect course, first of all, thank you. It teaches you how to develop. One of the things I talk about early on is the importance in your due diligence of going by and seeing the property in person. Now, I cut a corner on this deal, made some assumptions based on mapping, etc. Didn't get a full picture. And now I'm out here meeting a sub out here on a property that I already own, and I skipped the step of seeing it in person, and I made a mistake. And that's now it's not gonna be like that costly, but I would have made a different decision about what I wanted to do on this lot had I taken the, I don't know, let's call it an hour, 30 minutes here, 30 minutes back from my house to drive in, just take a look at this. I wouldn't have even needed to get out of the car, right? I could have just driven up, pulled up next to it. Oh, now I know, boom. So if we say that would have taken an hour, and let's just say that I'm gonna make $20,000 to $25,000 less on this deal because of what I didn't realize. That's a pretty good hourly wage, and this is just my friendly reminder to myself and to you guys to not cut corners. Take the time to do those little things. It's worth it. And hey, as I said, this is part of the process of starting off being bad, then like lukewarm and medium, then okay, then decent, then good, then great. This is how that happens. You make some mistakes and you learn. Onward. So I hope this is encouraging to you guys to know there's nobody out there who gets to start a business, who gets to try to achieve or accomplish anything that's substantial without going through that first step of being bad at it. There just isn't a way to skip that step. That's what it means to start something. Now here's the last truth. There are ways to maybe shorten that time period where you're terrible. There are ways to speed your growth up, and that's through learning. Books, videos, classes, mentors, coaches, all of those things can allow you to progress and excel faster than you would naturally without any outside help. So don't hear me saying that there's nothing you can do. So that being said, I will tell you, if you are real serious about real estate development, primarily starting off with residential real estate development, I have a course called Deal Architect. If you're not serious about it, don't buy this course. It's not super cheap, and it's not a dip your toe in the water and see how you like it. This is if you're serious about wanting to learn how to do this. Over the course of 30 some odd videos, I explain in depth exactly what I did to get my first deals going and start making money and eventually transition to doing this full time. If you're not sure, but you are curious, I have a book out. It's on Amazon. The link is in the description, and that's only 10 bucks, and that's definitely worth. Spend the 10 bucks, read a little bit about real estate development, see if it's something that sounds fun to you. For those of you who are real serious about learning how to develop real estate and building financial freedom through that style of real estate investment, go to dealarchitect.org and check that out. And as usual, if you are getting something out of this, guys, thank you so much for spending time with me. I'm honored. I hope I'm inspiring you to build a business and do something hard and to develop real estate, because it is so fun. If you're getting something out of it, hook me up with one of those and one of those and one of those. And I'll see you next time.